Marlowe's behind me, so let's test the Acme 211.5 dog whistle. It's not ultrasound, but it's very high pitched. Very effective. Marlowe! Viens ici! Oh well. Try again. Marlowe! Viens ici! My last video was called Marlowe's Nose, about his sense of smell. Extremely powerful, of course. His sense of hearing is also very strong, as in all dogs. We humans can hear between 20 and 20,000 hertz. A dog can hear between 40 and 60,000 hertz. So, of course, a high-pitched dog whistle, he's going to hear that. So, because of their range of hearing, dogs don't like loud noises. We've probably all seen a dog in a storm. It's terrified, flattens its ears against its head, and hides. Curiously, when dogs are born, puppies can't hear until they're about 20 days old. They're born deaf, but when they can hear, and their hearing develops to its maximum, they can hear 4 times the distance that we can. They can also distinguish between sounds that we can't distinguish between. So, for example, there's a little village over there. If there were 5 or 6 dogs barking there, I would just hear a mishmash of barking. Marlowe would hear each signature, each individual bark, and recognize its timbre, and the fact that it comes from a different source, maybe even its content, its meaning, if there is a meaning. So, dog ears come in all shapes and sizes. They're the perked up ones, like German Shepherd dogs. They're the floppy ones, like Marlowe, because his mother is a Cocker Spaniel. And their physiology is not so different from ours, except in one point. They have 18 muscles that allow the ear to be oriented towards the direction of a sound, so they're highly directional. He can identify exactly where a sound is coming from. Dogs then can hear very high-pitched sounds. They can also hear, better than us, very low sounds. Example, your room in the morning may seem to you quiet, but for your dog, there's a quartz resonator in your quartz alarm clock that gives off a kind of constant, never-ending alarm of high-frequency pulses to his ear, things that you can't hear. A neon bulb, one that you can't hear, he'll hear. And he also hears the navigational chirping of mice and rats behind walls, and even the bodily movements of insects. The question that's always asked is, can dogs understand us? Well, there's a famous cartoon from The Far Side which addresses this problem with a certain degree of cynicism. let me just have a pause and you can look at the cartoon. The received opinion is that dogs don't really understand individual words except for a few, but they do understand intonation very well. In particular, they can distinguish a rising intonation of a question. For example, do you want a bone? Or do you want to go for a walk? We have the phenomenon in modern English-speaking countries of up-talking. It comes from America, and up-talking is the phenomenon whereby every sentence ends on a rising intonation. You know what I mean? Anyway, for dogs this is extremely confusing because they think they're being offered or asked something. In fact, not only for dogs, I feel that as well. So please, if you have an Americanized tendency to do up-talking, please stop it at once. It's really bad for your dog and for elderly human beings like me. In Germany, there is a border collie that can distinguish 200 words. This is tested and proven because the 200 words relate to 200 toys, and whichever word you call out, he will fetch the toy that it relates to. So it is possible for them not to understand individual words. But as I said before, it's more intonation and perhaps emotion as well that they sense and respond to. I'm going to finish by reading you a poem by Liesl Müller called What the Dog Perhaps Hears. What the dog perhaps hears. If an inaudible whistle blown between our lips can send him home to us, then silence is perhaps the sound of spiders breathing and roots mining the earth. It may be asparagus heaving head first into the light, and the long brown sound of cracked cups when it happens. We would like to ask the dog if there is a continuous whir because the child in the house keeps growing, if the snake really stretches full length without a click, and the sun breaks through clouds without a decibel of effort, whether in autumn, when the trees dry up their wells, there isn't a shudder too high for us to hear. What is it like up there, above the shut-off level of our simple ears? For us there was no birth cry. The newborn bird is suddenly here, the egg broken, the nest alive, and we heard nothing when the world changed.